Welcome to Movie World Plus, the place where we talk movies. I'm Andy Signore, and I'm here to review Gran Turismo. I know I'm a little bit late. Does that bother you? Would you like me to still review movies even if they're not right when they're coming out? Because the strike has left me a little bit bare of what to talk about. And I don't always get the critic screening nowadays because of the strike for some reason. So if you want more reviews, even if they're a little bit late, let me know in the comments down below. I thought not only am I going to review this film, but I'm going to tell you how accurate it was, because that was my one criticism of this film as I'm watching it. This can't be real. It turns out it was more real than I expected. I'm going to tell you that at the second half of this video. Stay tuned, because I'm going to have to get a little bit spoilery when I do that, but I'll warn you before I get there in case you want the review. First, let's talk about this film. All right, so my kid wanted to see this film because he's a big, he plays Gran Turismo on PlayStation. He has a lot of fun, and I thought it'd be fun to see it with him. I'd seen the footage at CinemaCon, and I was nervous because it just looked really silly and ridiculous. I was like, what the heck is this movie? But it's directed by Neil Blomkamp. I don't know how to say that, but I'm saying it right, for District 9, etc. And he does a really good job at getting me invested in a movie I never thought I'd be invested in. And also, because it really is based on a true story, I have to give it more props than I thought I would. Yes, it really is based on a true story, and some characters and some order of things are not correct. But overall, more of this is more accurate than I expected to be. And as I learned that, I actually enjoyed the movie more, because part of this is just sort of the premise of this movie is a little silly. This idea that Gran Turismo gamers, because they clock in so much time and the game is so accurate, which sounds like a selling part of the game, because they're so good that they are able to join this GT Academy to then train and become racers in actual cars, and then go and race for real life. It seems ridiculous, but apparently it was real. This is a real thing. I didn't know about this academy. And yes, this character, Jann, sorry, how do I say it? It's a complicated name. Jann Mardenborough is a accurate, real person who became a racer in the movie. Now, I'm not going to tell you what happened. We'll get there in a second more specifically. But overall, I was pleasantly surprised by this film. Now, Archie, the guy playing Jann, he's okay. He's okay, but that's sort of played in the movie as that the winner of this sort of tournament person and the game of the gamers isn't the most energetic. And I get that sense. That's sort of, he's definitely like a gamer guy trying to fit in. David Harbour is definitely the most interesting character in the movie. He's playing a lot of his same hopperisms and things he's done before, but I like that in my David Harbour, so it didn't bother me. He's definitely the Doc Hudson of this Cars movie. Orlando Bloom plays this sort of marketing guy from Gran Turismo who's trying to basically do this big idea to get gamers into racing. So he, obviously this big idea to like get, more games sold, get more money through sponsors and car dealerships, and prove that this game is so good and real that yes, the gamers themselves are so in tune to their cars through the laps and the ways they play it with because you can play this game with, steering wheel and stuff. It's so realistic that yes, they can become racers. And that's the character he plays, trying to get Nissan on board as a sponsor to then find the best gamers to have them go. David Harbour is brought in as the reluctant coach, and they go to business. Now, overall, yeah, I had pleasantly surprised with this film. It's definitely a little predictable at times, for sure. Some of the cutting is a little jarring. I can't deny that. And there's a lot of CG clearly in some of the racing. However, even with those negatives, seemingly, overall, I had more fun through it than not. I'm invested in Jann's story. I like David Harbour's character as well. It's an interesting story. And the more I found out that it is actually more true than not, minus some things which we'll talk about in a second, it honestly made me like it even more. My son also loved it as a gamer of the, fan of the game, etc. He really enjoyed it. He had a blast with it. And yeah, it's engrossing. It's surprising at times because, again, didn't know this was a true story. And it does a good job at keeping you invested in the story of gamers becoming racers. Can they? What that means. His parents not believing him. Djimon Hounsou as his father has a few moments in here. And man, Djimon Hounsou really brings it in every movie he shows up to. He's really an underrated actor who does get to work a lot in these supporting roles. But shout out to him because he does a fantastic job in this film. And also Ginger Spice as the mom, as the credits roll. I was like, in fact, did I check that? I was like, is this for real? That was Ginger Spice? It was. Hold on, I'm going to show you. Jerry Holloway, it said. And I was like, my God, that is Jerry Holloway. Just to confirm, I want to make sure I'm not incorrect. Yeah, Jerry Horner Holloway had no clue when I was watching this movie. And then I was like, and I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was Ginger Spice. Plays his mom in the film, and she does a really good job. Her and Jaimin Hunsu play great, are great as the parents of him. And yeah, there's the jerk Kappa, the jerk racer. You got the other competitors. There's a lot of typical traits you'd see. But overall, I was surprisingly pleased with this film, and again, entertained by Gran Turismo. So yeah, surprisingly, as these video game movies, we had a good year between Mario and this. I liked Uncharted. Was that this year, last year? That one surprised me too. It wasn't too bad. I give this one a thumbs up. Do you need to go in the theaters? Look, I support theaters. We should be in the theaters more often. But I don't know if you need it. That said, I enjoyed myself. All right, now let's get to the second question here. Spoiler warning. We're at the 6-minute mark. Spoiler warning. You've been warned. How true is this story? All right. So basically, like I told you, the order of things is incorrect. And there's a controversy over the order of things, particularly. Doesn't really bother me, but it bothered some. The other big takeaway, before I get to that big spoiler, the character of David Harbour's Jack Salter, he wasn't a real person. Apparently, he was a combination of like 4 people. So they say here, a mixture of several people, including this guy. Who are these people? A lot of other people. Gavin Go, an NLP sports practitioner, and who we met, who gave him basically a ripple effect talk that was significant because it flicked a switch in him to perform even better. Yeah, Harbour just like, look, this is what it was. I think the arc was more effective this way. Darren Cox, who is basically the version of Orlando Bloom, because Orlando Bloom's character also didn't exist, said that Salter was a combination of 3 or 4 people, including himself. A guy named Ricardo Davalia, who was a car designer, a legend, and an engineer. And then there was a team manager called Bob Neville, who ran the team. There's a really bit of me in there, but that's sort of meant all the coaches that were there sort of were combined. And that's not common. That's very common in these biopics. Danny Moore, played by Orlando Bloom, as the marketing guy, also not a real person. Darren Cox, the one who it was inspired by, was the founder of the GT Academy, and says that he wasn't as much of the marketing DICK that Orlando plays. And that actually is one criticism I'll give the film. I feel like that's never really addressed later. It's sort of just he's a dick, but it's kind of realistic that the marketing guy's out there trying to make these decisions. But the guy who plays Darren Cox, who was the real one, says he would have never questioned who won the race, like in the movie and other things. But yeah, these things have to be done because it's Hollywood. My real character absolutely isn't about trying to save the moment. But it's approximation of him, certainly not as rebellious and anti-establishment as I was, as the program was back in the day. So they're trying to make it a little bit more exciting. Now, Jann Mardenborough, true guy. Now, he wasn't the first winner. Again, this is where the timeline of things changed. There were 2 other winners before him, but he's the story they focused on. While it was founded in 2008, Lucas was the first graduate, and then returned to 2010, where Jordan Tresson emerged as the winner. Then Mardenborough entered in 2011, where he was the victor. Now, qualifying for the GT Academy, there were slight changes across the 8-year run. Process was made up of 4 phases. Some of that, again, was adjusted, but there really was this time-trialed thing. Now, spoiler alerts, I warned you, he did really come in third at Le Mans. This was one of those moments where I was like, come on. I thought this was just going to be used as the finale of we need a big race to win. It all, made sense with David Harbour's character. But no, he really did make the podium at Le Mans, which is a really hard one to do. So truth. And the fact that that was real was pretty impressive. Now, they changed the order. Apparently, according to this article, the crash was real, guys. This is it. Now, again, horrible this happened because, yes, there was a spectator that was there. That is all accurate. But it took place at a different time. They tried to make it so it happened in this German track as they were trying to get the license before. But they changed it. They changed the order of this to this happened after Le Mans. And this in the movie, though, this happens to before Le Mans and uses Le Mans as the big version. The real life accident occurred in Nürburgring, 2015. After he came in third at Le Mans, critics have slammed the movie for this rearrangement, accusing the filmmakers of exploiting a tragedy to give the movie's story more weight. I mean, I would argue it's just giving it a better arc. It's trying to summarize everything this guy's been through and to make it more contained in a 2-hour movie. And I would argue, yeah, it is more effective this way. Does this undermine the victim? No, I don't think so. To not include it would have done that. And the fact that this really happened and really did make Mardenborough question his racing and whether he does, to me, I think it was valid to put it back in there. I made sure all of us that were in the production, producers, Jason, screenwriter, that was how it all went down, because it needed to be correct, because somebody lost their life in the accident, and the movie does a great job at that. It shows as well the deep, dark moments of my life when I was in the hospital by myself, the mental aspects of such an event, and as life and as well, what can happen, how you can get out of that, how you can rebound and achieve something, achieve greatness off the back of that. And so it had to be there. Cox addressing the controversy. Certainly, if you look at the original video source, it's very close in terms of the action and what's happened. And unfortunately, I lived through it. Yes, there's artistic license on the timing of things. And unfortunately, just like my character not being perfect, for me to predict, it's just one of those things. So there you go. Overall, I'm surprised by how much was accurate. Now, again, they changed some characters and they changed some timelines, but that's pretty much most biopics you see. Overall, the fact that this was real and that gamers did become racers and that he did win Le Mans, et cetera, and wrestled with such a big tragedy, I got to say it only made me like the movie more, because my first initial critique was, this is too silly. So that was good. I liked all those Kenny G jokes. That was also true. I liked that we got to see that at the end, that he really did listen to Enya and Kenny G. And my son and I listened to some Enya on the way home, got to introduce those to him. But yeah, myself and Sawyer both had a really good time with this. It was fun to watch it with him. So if you got a kid who likes playing the game and you want to go see something a little bit more exciting, check out Gran Turismo. I'm sure they'll be streaming soon, but go support the theaters if you can. Supporting theaters is so crucial right now. It's tough out there. I know the strike is all. Do you want me to do a video on the strike? I don't know if people want to hear my opinion on the strike. Let me know your thoughts down below. I want to try to give you more movie topics when I can, because I enjoy just talking. I don't always read the comments because I just don't care. You're allowed to have your opinion, but I'm just so sick of arguing about movies. I'm going to share mine. You share yours down below. And thank you guys so much for watching here in Movie World. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more movie talk here on Movie World Plus.